Peter didn't lose his job, but he lost something worse, his ability to say no. You show up every day, do your work, collect your salary, and it feels safe. Until you realize, if this one job disappears, your entire life collapses with it. That's not job security. That's dependency. And dependency is the most expensive risk you'll ever take. Meet Peter. Peter is reliable. He hits deadlines. He doesn't complain. He's the person managers trust. But here's the part nobody sees. Peter hasn't updated his skills outside his company in 3 years. His network? Only coworkers. His income? One stream. One source. One decision away from zero. And one random Tuesday, his company announces restructuring. Suddenly, Peter isn't a valued team member. He's a cost. And that's when it hits him. He wasn't building a career. He was renting one. What if I told you there's a way to walk into your office tomorrow and not need your job anymore? Not quitting, not risking everything. Just removing the fear. It's called external leverage. You don't need to escape your job. You need to stop depending on it. Today, I'll show you how Peter rebuilt his leverage. Step by step, without quitting his 9 to 5. Peter used to say, "I'm a project manager at X company." Sounds fine, right? Wrong. That's like saying, "I exist professionally." Congratulations. Your job title means nothing outside your company. If Peter lost his job tomorrow, could anyone actually understand his value? He rewrote it. I improved delivery speed by 32% across 4 teams. I reduced operational costs by $120,000 annually. Now, he's not an employee. He's a result. Leverage starts when the market understands you, not just your boss. If someone Googled your name today, what problem do you solve? One day, Peter's boss forgot he led a major project. Not intentionally, just memory. Companies forget faster than your ex moves on. If it's not documented, it didn't happen. So when promotion time comes, who actually gets credit? Peter created a private folder. Screenshots of results. Before/after metrics. Short case studies. Now, when someone asks, "What have you done?" he doesn't explain. He shows. Confidence is loud. Proof is louder. What would happen if your entire career disappeared from memory tomorrow? Peter used to treat LinkedIn like a fire extinguisher. Only touched it during emergencies. That's why most people look desperate online. So when opportunity shows up, why would it pick you? Peter started posting once a week. Lessons from projects. Mistakes he fixed. Simple insights. Nothing fancy. Just visible. Leverage isn't applying for jobs. It's being found. When was the last time your name created an opportunity? If this is hitting a little too close, drop a fire in the comments. Because most people don't realize they're trapped until it's too late. And if you want to build leverage the smart way, hit subscribe. We break this down every week. Peter used to think networking meant asking for help, so he avoided it. That's why most people network too late. Then Peter tried something different. He reached out to 3 people, not for jobs, not for favors, just curiosity. Why would busy people respond? He asked simple questions. How did you get into this role? What would you do differently? No pressure, no agenda. People don't help strangers. They help familiar names. If you lost your job today, who would pick up your call? At work, everyone kept asking Peter for help with one thing: data reporting. Basically, if Excel had a best friend, it was Peter. That's not helping. That's a market signal. If one office needs it, how many people outside would pay for it? He turned it into a simple offer. Dashboard set up for small teams. One PDF. One clear result. Skills become leverage when they leave the office. What do people always come to you for? Then something small happened. Peter made $25 outside his job. And everything changed. It wasn't the money. It was a realization. What happens when your brain sees a second income source? That one payment broke the illusion. My job is my only income. Fear disappears. The moment you realize money exists outside your employer. What would change in your life? If your paycheck wasn't your only option. Emotional blend. Fear. Right now, most people are one decision away from losing everything. Surprise. And they don't even know it. Relief. But Peter didn't quit his job to fix this. Humor. He just stopped treating his boss like his landlord. In the next part, I'll show you the 3 moves that completely change Peter's power at work, including the one that makes your boss respect you more without saying a word. If you ever felt stuck in your job, not because you hate it, but because you need it, drop a leverage in the comments. Peter didn't quit his job, but something strange happened. His boss started treating him differently. No title change, no big announcement, but suddenly fewer late-night messages, more respect in meetings. Because Peter stopped acting like someone who needed the job and started acting like someone who had options. Power at work doesn't come from working harder. It comes from being able to walk away. Let's finish this. These last 4 moves are where leverage becomes real. Peter used to say yes to everything. Extra work? Yes. Weekend call? Yes. Unfair deadline? Also yes. At this point, even his calendar was tired of him. Not because he was weak, because he was financially exposed. What happens when your survival depends on keeping one person happy? Peter made one shift. He saved 6 months of expenses. Not for retirement, not for investing, for freedom. Money in the bank isn't just security, it's negotiation power. And something subtle changed. When his boss asked for something unreasonable, Peter paused. And for the first time, he thought before he answered. What would you say differently at work if you weren't afraid of losing your job? Peter assumed he was being paid fairly, until he checked. He was underpaid by 28%, which is corporate language for we hope you never Google yourself. How many people are unknowingly discounting themselves right now? Peter started doing one thing every month, talking to recruiters, checking salary data, comparing roles. Not to leave, just to know. Leverage isn't asking for a raise. It's knowing exactly what someone else would pay for you. If another company offered you a job tomorrow, would you even know if it's better? Before, Peter's reputation lived inside his company, which meant if he left, his identity reset to 0. That's not a career. That's captivity. What happens when your value disappears the moment you log out? Peter started small, writing short posts online, sharing insights from his work, helping people in public forums. Nothing viral, just consistent. And slowly, people started recognizing his name, not his company. Him. Your goal isn't to be known at work. It's to be known without it. If your job title disappeared today, would your name still mean something? This one scared Peter the most. Interviewing without needing a job. It's like going on a date when you're not desperate. You suddenly become very attractive. When you remove pressure, you perform better. What happens when you realize you actually have options? Peter took one interview every 6 months. Not to leave, to learn what companies value, what questions get asked, what his real worth is. Confidence isn't built in comfort. It's built in exposure. The fear of, what if I lose my job, slowly turned into, what if there's something better? When was the last time you tested your value in the real market? Let's step back. Peter didn't quit his job. He didn't start a massive business. He didn't gamble his stability. He just did something most people never do. He built leverage quietly. Tie everything together. He translated his value. He documented his proof. He built visibility. He created relationships. He monetized a skill. He earned outside income. He saved for freedom. He knew his worth. He built a reputation. He tested the market. Fear. Most people will never do this and they'll stay stuck. Surprise. But none of this required quitting. Relief. You can start while keeping your job. Humor. Your boss doesn't need to know until it's too late. The real risk was never getting fired. It was waking up one day and realizing you can't leave. Because your entire life depends on one paycheck. Leverage flips that. You don't work harder to feel secure. You build options. 6 months later, same job, same desk, but a completely different Peter. He speaks less but with more weight. He works hard, but not out of fear. He stays, but by choice. And that changes everything. If this hit you, don't just watch this and go back to normal. Pick one of these 10 and start today. Comment leverage if you're done relying on one paycheck. And if you want more content that actually gives you control over your career, not just motivation, hit subscribe. Because the goal isn't to escape work. It's to never feel trapped by it again.